Okay, so another word problem, and once again, I don't know if it helps, but I like to use these colors. Um, it says Melissa is 24 years younger than Joyce. In 2 years, Joyce will be 3 times as old as Melissa will be. How old are they now? In other words, we need to know Melissa's age. We're going to use the letter M. We need to know Joyce's age, and we'll use the letter J. Again, maybe some familiar colors. Let's use that color blue for Melissa. Let's use that color for Joyce. When we get M, we'll use blue. When we get J, we'll use pink, whichever one we get first. All right. Also, remember, we need to write two equations. I put that, oh, I spelled also wrong. I probably do that every time. Anyway, we need to write two equations. So we'll do that here in just a second. But let me maybe make this a little bit zoom in here. Once again, let's use green to write our first equation. And to get that equation, this is the sentence we want. Melissa is 24 years younger than Joyce. First of all, Melissa is, we're going to write that with M equals. Now, if you remember the last problem, if we had said, don't write this next part, but if we had said that Melissa is 24 years older than Joyce, it would be J plus 24, but it says younger. So what should we write instead of J plus 24? Yeah, we should write minus. J minus 24, and that will be our green equation. Okay. All right. By the way, I want to just I want to say that we can do this another way, and I want you guys to remember that we can always, almost always, pretty much always, um, express something in more than one way in math. The other way that we could have done this is to write that m plus, and I'm going to write or here. We could have also written that m plus 24 is equal to j. If I have enough room here. M plus 24 equals j. So we could have used that for our green equation also. Okay, either one of those. They mean the same thing. But we now need to write another equation. And the other equation, let's use red, and let's get it from this sentence here. So my other equation, it'll have to say that in 2 years, Joyce will be 3 times as old as Melissa will be in 2 years. I'm paraphrasing it. Let me say that again. In 2 years, Joyce's age will be 3 times what Melissa's age will be in 2 years. Again, I paraphrase it. So what I want to write first is the two girls or the two women's age in 2 years. Melissa's age in 2 years will be M plus 2. I'm going to put equals even though they're not the same yet. And Joyce's age in 2 years will be J plus 2. Okay. Now, doesn't it say that in 2 years, Joyce will be 3 times as old as Melissa? Okay. And it doesn't really matter that I have them in a different order, but I'm going to write something that we don't need to keep here, but just so you can keep in mind. This is Melissa's age in 2 years. Melissa, 1L. In 2 years. And this is Joyce in 2 years. In 2 years. And it says Joyce will be 3 times as old as Melissa. So this age will be 3 times, let me just say it another way. This purple will be 3 times the yellow. In other words, we need to say that we need to put a 3 here. Joyce's age in 3 years is 3 times Melissa's age in 3 years. You need to put the 3 there. So we'll call that our red equation, but let me get rid of the other notes first, that purple and that yellow. We don't need that. And okay, so this will be, and I'm going to just make it a little bit neater by moving that closer. And that's going to be our red equation. Now notice that I wrote the green equation in two different ways. And that's because we could replace the m with j minus 24, or we could replace the j with m plus 24. It really doesn't matter which one. I would probably use, and that's why I wrote it this way, I would probably, since I have j, I want to say almost by itself, yeah, right in right here, the j is almost by itself. I would probably use the one that has the j by itself. I'd probably use that one for my green equation. So it's probably better if we use this green equation. I'm going to get rid of the other one. Remember, they both mean the same thing, but we want to use the one that's probably going to be simpler. Okay. All right, so let's move our green equation over just a bit. Here's our green equation and our red equation. Get a little more room. And what we're going to do now is whenever we see the letter J, it's the same thing as M plus 24. Well, if we go down here, we do see a J. I'm going to write the same thing over, except for I'm going to distribute. Instead of writing 3 times M plus 2, I'm going to write 3M plus 3 times 2, which is 6. And instead of J plus 2, let me just write it and then erase it. Instead of J here, right, I'm going to erase that J, and I'm going to replace it with M plus 24. Substitute is the technical word. So let me erase that J and put M plus 24. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and simplify what we have. Uh, right now, I'm just going to simplify 24 plus 2 first. That's 26. So we're going to have 3m plus 6 equals m plus 26. I need more room. And now we want to get the m's on the same side. So what I'm going to do is subtract m from both sides. Subtract m from that and subtract m there. That will give me 3m minus m, or 3m minus 1m. That'll be 2m plus 6 is equal to 26. And since I have added 6, or they have added 6, I'm going to need to subtract 6 from both sides. So, and I'm also going to need to make more room. Subtract 6 and subtract 6. A little more room here, I think I can do, yeah. So when I subtract 6, I get 2m is equal to 26 minus 6 is 20. And then we're going to divide by 2. So m, 20 divided by 2 is 10. And that's, remember, Melissa, we used blue, so I'm going to highlight that with blue. Okay. Melissa is 10. Okay. M equals 10. So we could use either the green or the red. I think the green would probably be easiest, a little bit shorter. So I'm going to write what's in the green box on the side here. And remember, the red would work, just since it's a little bit longer. It would take us a little bit longer at all. 24 equals J. And now remind you of what we just said a second ago. Whenever we see the letter M, we're going to replace it with the number 10 because it says so right there. M is the same thing as 10. So I'm going to erase the M and replace it with a 10. Let me erase that and put a 10 there. 10. And so 10 plus 24 is 34, of course. So 34 is equal. Can I put the equals on that side? Is equal to J. And that, what pink did we use? That's the age of J, or Joyce. I was going to say Jenny. That's the age of Joyce. Joyce is 34 and Melissa is 10. Make sure you put them in that order when you put the box in. Okay. When you put your answers in the box is what I meant.